Hi everyone. I hope you all can hear me clearly. Welcome to our live on how to speak on stage confidently. So today in this live, I'm going to share with you certain techniques, certain tips and strategies from my own experience that will help you speak on stage confidently. And if at any point you have any questions, you can ask me in the chat and I will answer them for you. Also, I have a very special announcement for this live where we are conducting our most loved course and our most in demand course on accomplishing effective communication from 24th January onwards. It's a live course which has 5 training sessions from me, 8 practice sessions, because I don't believe in a lecture based course when it comes to communication skills, and you really need to practice to be able to improve your English. So, this course is starting from 24th of January, and the link is there in the description, and I'm going to put it in the pinned comment as well. We are offering a special discount of 20% for first 50 learners. So I would highly recommend that if you're interested, please sign up soon because that can exhaust pretty soon. Okay. So coming to our topic of how to speak on stage confidently. So I think the first thing that you need to do is be prepared because imagine going on stage and then not being sure of what you want to say. And I can't even imagine myself in that situation. I think it's going to make me so nervous. So, whenever you have to speak on stage, it could be a presentation, it could be a speech. I think the first important thing to do is to be prepared. And how can you prepare yourself? Well, I believe in the concept of writing a script. Okay. So when I say a script, I don't mean that word to word, I'm writing everything I'm going to say and then, I'm remembering the whole thing and vomiting it out. No, that doesn't work because if you go on stage and if you're not able to remember even one word of that script, then you'll not be able to remember the whole thing. And that can further heighten your nervousness. So you wouldn't want to be in a situation like this. So I was saying that it's very important to be prepared, right? And not just mugging up a script. But what I do when I'm preparing a script is I write down the key points. So, say for example, I have to explain a slide. So, from that slide, whatever key points I want to cover, I will write that in my script. Then all I need to do is go on stage, recollect the points, and then elaborate it. So when you're writing that script, just write the key points. And then after that, you go on stage and you elaborate. So what happens in this way is that you're not in the mindset that I have to remember each and everything. In fact, when you go on stage and you look at your slide, there are going to be certain keywords, right? And those keywords will guide you and make you remember that, okay, for this keyword, this is the point that I need to explain. So this is something that all of you can do. Number one, that whenever you have to speak on stage, please prepare yourselves. In the last year, I have taken some corporate trainings, I've taken some workshops at colleges like IIT Bombay as well. And in all these places, I made sure that I'm prepared because at the end of the day, when people are listening to you, they're there for the content. And if you're not able to deliver the content that they want to listen, and if you're not able to engage them with that content, then your audience will tune out and they will not listen to you. Okay. So, in mantra number one, to speaking on stage confidently is to be prepared. Okay. Second very important thing is to practice. Now that you have a script ready, now that you know the points that you have to say, it's important to practice it at least, especially for people like us where we are not as confident. I think it's important to practice. So it depends on you, right? How you want to practice. You can practice in front of the mirror or you can also record yourself. But when you do that, you'll be able to understand that, okay, where exactly am I making mistakes? And then you can work on it consciously to improve. So second thing that you need to do is please practice. That will give you further confidence because then you will realize that, okay, I've done this. I've spoken about this before and I know I can do this. Yeah. Now, some students, they come up to me and they tell me that, ma'am, if I've written the points, then my main problem is that I am not able to form sentences. I'm not able to speak fluently in English. So that is where you need some help. That is where you have to work actively towards your English. And that is one of the reasons why I am conducting this communication skills course for people who want to improve their English, who want to speak in English confidently and not just speaking. I believe when it comes to improving your English, you have to improve all aspects of communication. So that's writing, that's speaking, that's listening, reading, everything combined together. So in this course, we work on that. So here we're going to have live training sessions where I'm going to teach you important aspects of how to initiate conversations with new people, how to participate in group discussions, how to communicate in interviews confidently, how to write professional emails, how to write, build your confidence in writing. So all these things we're going to cover in the training sessions. And then in the practice sessions, you are going to practice with a live class, work on your English, and also get feedback to improve. So this course is starting on 24th of January, and I've linked it in the chat for you in the description, and I think it might be in the comments as well. So I've put it there. You can go through it and you can sign up. Trust me, it's going to be super helpful and it's going to be completely led by me. So I'm going to make sure that you have the best guidance to start speaking in English confidently. And it's just going to take 5 weeks. Imagine having struggled for so long to speak in English, and all it needs is 5 weeks of practice to overcome that hurdle, to overcome that struggle. So now that we know that we have to be prepared, we know that we have to practice, what is the next thing that we need to work on? So the next thing that we need to work on is our body language. Because believe it or not, research says that 55% of your communication takes place through not what you're saying, but it actually takes place through your body language. And when you're on stage, it's important to create that body language, that positive body language, so that it shows that you're a confident speaker. So, what aspects of body language you need to incorporate? Number one is, what is number one? Yes. So, number one is eye contact. So, it's important to look at your audience in the eye and then speak to them, because this shows that you're interacting with them directly. You don't want to look very far off. You don't want to look at a wall. I know because of nervousness, sometimes we do that, but it's important to make eye contact with your audience. Second thing that you can do is use hand gestures. So, when you use positive hand gestures, it engages the audience and it also creates an impact. Okay. And like, say, for example, if you're not confident, you feel, I can't use hand gestures, or you feel that, you're going to fidget too much with your hands, then the most simple thing that you can do is keep your hands in the steeple pose. So this is called as the steeple pose, guys. And you keep it here near your waist. The moment you do that, not only will it give you confidence, but you will also appear as a confident speaker. So you should definitely go for this kind of hand gesture when you're speaking. Okay. I remember when we were kids, we used to do like this when reciting a poem. Well, we don't do that anymore and we go for the steeple pose. In fact, if you watch TV shows or like if you watch Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi's speech, or if you watch even stuff, even shows like Coffee with Karan, you will see that these speakers, they always have their hands in this gesture, because this is how, as a person who's speaking or giving a speech, you usually keep your hands in this steeple pose. Okay, all right. So first was to be prepared. Second was to practice. Third is to maintain a proper body language. And fourth is to not take yourself too seriously. I think this is the major reason that builds the nervousness in us, right? We take ourselves too seriously. We feel that when we go on stage, what if we make a mistake? What is the world going to think about us? What are all these people who are sitting in front of me think about me? I'm going to make a fool out of myself. Well, the fact of the matter is, other people who are sitting in the audience, they are not going to be as critical of you as you are of yourself. So we actually critique ourselves much more as compared to anybody else who's out there. So stop taking yourself too seriously, stop building so much pressure on yourself, and realize that it is okay to make mistakes as long as we're able to communicate that information, as long as we're able to do that with a smile, and as long as our intentions are right. People are going to appreciate that about us. And even if we make a few mistakes, probably okay. Yeah. And finally, the last thing, I think it's a secret sort of a tip that just before you go on stage, what you should do is go for this power pose. Any idea what a power pose is? So just before going on stage, put your hands on your waist like this. Not not on the stage, but somewhere outside where people can't see you. You stand in the power pose just like a Superman does, and you believe that yes, I can do this, and you will realize that 2 minutes of standing in this pose, it's already going to fill you with a lot of confidence. And then you go on stage and you deliver that speech impactfully. Okay. So I think these are some of the important things that you can do to speak on stage confidently. And if you follow these things, if you practice, if you prepare well, keep these things in mind, then it's definitely going to enhance the way that you speak on stage. Okay. So now, if you have any questions, any doubts, please let me know and I will address them for you in the chat. Okay. Um, I think Akif is saying, I have confidence in myself, but sometimes I'm not able to make people understand when I speak in English. So, Akif, that happens when you don't have a good command over English. So, what is important here is to improve your English fluency. So, a simple exercise I'll give you, right? Every day, for 10 minutes, take a book or take a newspaper and read something in English, and not just like read it in your head or read it in your mind. Speak loudly and read it. How will that help? When you're reading, it's going to improve your grammar and language. And because you're reading aloud, you're also listening to that. So you're listening to correct English and it's registering in your head. And thirdly, when you're speaking, you are training your mind, you're training your tongue to speak in English fluently. So just simple exercise, 10 minutes of this exercise, and you will see it's going to improve. But of course, apart from that, I've been telling people that, if you really want what should I say, like a fixed curriculum, you want more motivation where you are able to practice with the class, and there are targets that you need to meet every week and see that progress. Then you can join me for my communication skills course. It's starting this 24th of January, and it's going to be super fun where we have 5 training sessions where I'm going to teach you important concepts. And then we have practice sessions over the weekends where you're constantly going to practice with the class. One day, maybe on initiating conversations, another day on group discussions. One day, we'll be doing impromptu speaking, so putting you in all different types of situations. And so that you are prepared, so that you know how to handle these situations. Because speaking English or speaking fluently is very similar to driving a car, right? I can watch hundreds of YouTube videos, but until and unless I sit in the driver's seat and I actually practice driving a car, I can never learn. And same with English. You can listen to a lot of YouTube videos like me talking right now, and you can and you can get a lot of tips and techniques and everything, but until and unless you apply those things, until and unless you practice them, it's going to be very difficult to improve. So practicing is essential. Putting yourself in that situation is important, because then your brain knows how to tackle that, because your brain has this muscle memory, right? There's something called as muscle memory, where if you've been in a similar situation and you've performed in that situation, then your brain knows that, okay, this is not unfamiliar for me. I know how to tackle these kind of situations. And that is what we try to do in these practice sessions. Okay. Access saying, ma'am, I speak English quite good. I practice in front of mirror and record myself to know where I go wrong. But when I go on stage to give presentation, I find myself with lack of words. Uh, so this is because I think it's the initial fear acts. In that case, what I would recommend is that before going on stage, maybe say, for example, you're giving your presentation in a classroom. One important thing that you can do is to familiarize yourself with that location. As I said, you're making your brain more and more comfortable for those situations, right? So say, for example, you know that, okay, in this classroom, my presentation is going to take place. Just on an off day, when nobody is there in class, simply go there and deliver your presentation. You will see the next time when you're delivering the same thing in a filled class, you will feel more confident. So these small things you can do to build that confidence to speak in front of other people. So, man, not enough time to practice, right? So, it's important to take that time out to practice. It's important to give that time. I mean, imagine every day, if you check your Instagram right now and you check your activity, every day we are spending at least 2 hours on Instagram mindlessly scrolling, and we're not getting anything out of it. So all you need to do here is practice maybe for 30 minutes, 40 minutes on an everyday basis and not even for your entire lifetime. All I'm asking you to do is practice honestly for 4 weeks or 5 weeks, and you will see a considerable improvement in your English. All right, so everyone, it was a pleasure interacting with you, and I hope to see some of you in the course. It will be amazing to interact with all of you on a one-to-one level. I really look forward to it. And thank you so much for joining us in this live today. If you have any questions, please put them down in the comments below. And even though the live is over, I will still address it for you. Okay, so thank you so much. Bye and take care.